hello, hello to everyone sneaking on in. We are going to be getting started soon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the official Rockfish Games stream of EVERSPACE 2, where I am your host, Eric Schrader, the community ambassador for Rockfish Games. Wait a second, I didn't see a transition there. Hang on a second. Hang on, there it is. Okay, yeah, everything's working swimmingly, perfectly, excellently, fluidly. It's the best thing that you've ever experienced in your life. Probably not, but that's okay, we're gonna roll with it. Welcome to everybody over on Twitch and on YouTube. We are going to be playing the beta today. This is the same beta that you have access to. We'll be cruising through, showing you some of the things that it has to offer once you've completed all the story. And the main point of these streams, as always, is a community-centric feature. That's right, I am here to serve you guys. I'm answering your questions. We're having a conversation, and that's the way that we do it. We like talking to you guys. You have good inputs sometimes. And other times we like to make fun of you. It's true, we have a blast, but we also like showing you what our ideas look like so you can be invested in this development process alongside us. Because at the end of the day, we recognize the fact that our vision can only go so far. We're proud of it, we're excited to show you that, but you can also enhance that vision a little bit further. So it's a good time together, woo! Goodness gravy, as we say. Oh my gosh. So I initiated a little bit of a combat sequence just to kick things off, because who doesn't like to watch things go exploding in space, right? So it'll be good. It'll be fun. So greetings, everyone, saying good evening, Captain, and hello, hi, welcome. It's fantastic. Beautiful. So let's go ahead and resume where we created this save. Again, this is a late game situation. We have a lot of the perks unlocked. We have a lot of nice equipment. So let's just dive right into it. And we have some outlaws attacking some G&B over here. So we're gonna go ahead and try to assist them, since those outlaws are way stronger than the G&B. Beautiful beam lasers. Nice pulse laser. Ooh, level 10 cargo unit. That might be useful. And a thermal gun. Now, that noise that you hear that you might be wondering, like, why is it doing that? Well, we are flying a Striker class ship. What does that mean? It means that this thing, the one that we're currently using, has a close quarters benefit. So whenever you are using this ship in close proximity of your opponents, it increases in damage. Pretty nice. Some people saying that it's a beautiful ship. Hey, I'm glad that you like it. I'm a fan of this ship as well. It turned out all right. It's got lots of wings. Makes me hungry. I need some dip. All right, so what do we got here? We got an elite scout. We got a group of scouts. Oh, a madcap over there. All right, so let's take out the tough guy first. So the thermal gun. You guys are not familiar with this weapon. This one likes to heat seek its targets, even though it doesn't really do a lot of damage. So we are going to have to cycle between weapons here. This beam laser is nice and consistent against all forms of defense. So it's an all-around good item to utilize, I think. And our pulse laser, while this does put a lot of pounding on an opponent's shield, it's also pretty good all-around as well, I think. I'm a big fan of it. It just feels good. Like, it has a nice sound. You just get that really solid pew pew in there. It's good.
Yeah.
Go back to our beam laser here for a second. And of course we also have missiles. Should do the job right there. And we also have mines. Now, mines in this space where G and B are assailed might not be the best solution, because we'd also hit them and they'd get ticked off with us, so we'll just keep attacking the outlaws independently. Another level 10 cargo unit, oh my gosh, all right. Solid. Got some more folks coming in. Welcome everybody. Good to see you. Pew pew, yes, exactly. Beam laser looks satisfying. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the beam laser just for consistency's sake. Oh man, that freighter is taking a pounding. Goodness gravy, let's try and intervene. Oh, he's gone. Goodness, I'm all looking at the chat, and these poor chaps flying this freighter are just like, help, please. I'm like, well, check out these people watching. Oh my gosh, what a savage. Now here's an interesting conundrum. All of our weapons are more focused on shields than armors, and this guy has a lot of armor, so we're kind of forced into using the beam laser here, because the beam laser deals the most damage kinetically. What do you mean? Kinetic damage? Why is that important? You know what? I'm glad that you asked that question, because we can start talking a little bit about some of the back-end mechanics that bring all of the systems of EVERSPACE 2 together. Wow! Wonderful! All right, so with the weapons, many of you know this, but I also want to clarify to those who don't know, there is a change from EVERSPACE 1 to EVERSPACE 2. If you guys are familiar with EVERSPACE 1, you'll know that we had DPS specifically for shields, and we had DPS specifically for hull. So you might be looking at this and going, oh yeah, kinetic energy, it's it's the same thing, your kinetics versus hull, and your shields versus, or your energies versus shields. It's really easy to assume that, but there's actually another layer added into this mix. We separated some elements out so that we could diversify the weapons as well as the defenses, not only of yourself, but also of the opponents. This is done by making kinetic damage good against armor and energy DPS against shields. So you were right on one of those things. This is effectively allowing us to pair armors and shields in conjunction with one another as a separate element completely from the ship hull. Ship hull takes full damage from any type of source. So kinetic and energy both combine to deal damage to a ship's hull. So you want your shields up, or you want your armor on. because if one of those is failing, you're starting to become more vulnerable. Another important aspect that makes this go even beyond that is that these different weapons have certain properties associated with them based on, randomization of loot, right? Their traditional looter shooter aspect where each thing has a little bit of a bonus. So for example, this pulse laser, even though it's not really that great against kinetic DPS, turns out that it's not bad either, because it does have a bonus of having a 10% increased damage against armor. Could come in a pinch, especially right now since we don't really have a lot of kinetic damage output. In addition, it has 20% increased damage if your ship is exposed to sunlight. Oh, well, that's kind of nice. We're actually in the sun as we're fighting right now. Planet side, sun's coming down on us. We would have that bonus removed if we were in the shadows, in the shade, behind a building, if we were in a cavern, stuff like that. So you'll want to take note of these modifiers that you're finding on your equipment, because you could, in fact, find a pulse laser that has a 30% increased modifier to its kinetic DPS if you play your cards right. So in addition to that, actually, no, that basically covers it. So that's what we did with both kinetic and energy DPS, is we separated out to specifically armor and shields, allowing hull to be that soak in that oh crap moment. If you're out of both, you're gonna be taking a pounding. Also means numbers are gonna look a little bit different here. You'll see that hull right now for us. Granted, the values here may be a little bit skewed. Adjustments are being made, work in progress. I'm not gonna say that too much this stream because you know that, okay? I respect your intelligence, I got it. The whole values are probably gonna be a bit higher than shields and armors, much like you see here, except maybe not to that degree. We're still finagling something. But as a whole, when your hull starts coming down, you gotta figure out some solutions quick. Okay, so let's get back into this, see what our opponents are doing. We got a mine layer, another bomber, another mine layer. Oh man, these are cheeky guys. Look at them barrage this fighter from afar using these mines. I'm gonna be surprised if he survives this. Nope, there he goes. Ripperoni. Ouch. Crunched. Pretty hard crunch. All right. Oh, now they're throwing mines at me. Of course they are. So these guys move around a lot, so I'm gonna use the thermo gun to capitalize on that fact. Just lock it in without having to worry too much. Where's this other guy? Uh-huh. Yes. Throw a mine at me, please. Thank you. So mines and other physical objects in the world have certain interactions that you can make in EVERSPACE 2. Something that we have had a lot of fun playing around with, and we're still finding even more uses and instances where this becomes a powerful tool. As you just saw, I was able to grab a mine that was thrown at me and throw it back. It's not just mines you'll be doing this with. Like, you could find a chunk of debris if you wanted to, or you might be able to grab a drone outright, depending on what we end up doing with this functionality in the future. There may be mini games associated with it. Ooh, lots of little things in the works of how this grapple mechanic is changing the very nature of the game into something beyond just a combat in space or planet side instance. These guys are going to get absolutely wrecked. Look at this ball of yuckness. Yuckness? Whatever. Let's fight them. Wait, I see. Okay, there's questions coming in. Of course there's questions coming in. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything too crazy, anything too good. But also hello to even more people showing up. My goodness, we're getting a pretty solid audience here. So welcome everybody. Glad to have you. Just for the sake of understanding, my name is Eric Schrader. I'm the community ambassador for Rockfish Games. I am your host and your guide through all things EVERSPACE 2 and frankly Rockfish related. If you have any questions whatsoever, that's what these streams are for. We want to be able to give you the information that you're looking for. You know what's going on during development, gives you peace of mind, and also help us focus on the things that matter. So it's gravy all around. So Spectral Badger, a very strong proponent in the YouTube community, if I do say so myself, always asking some pretty good questions, is asking a question right now. Speaking of light and shadow, do we have chances to get a night and day version of planetary locations? I mean, I'm not gonna say that's off the table, but at the same time, ow, that really hurt. At the same time, looking at the world map that we're creating, let's just take a solid look at this really quick. This isn't an open world RPG genre. Now, okay, this is a complete departure from the roguelike formula we used for EVERSPACE 1. I know some of you just went, what? Because you really enjoyed that roguelike formula. That was a small percentage of you guys out there. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm thankful that you liked the way that it looped everything in. We were really happy with the results. Now we're moving into this open world RPG where there's persistence and there is direction and where you are going and what you are doing. So you're no longer always moving forward. You can actually go back. You can look around. Exploration is a very powerful proponent of this game space now. And what we have these dedicated locations that are handcrafted. Handcrafted locations, both planetside and out in space, for you to explore, extract, destroy, all those different things. And they're intentionally designed in a sort of fixed setup. So you can already kind of see where I'm going with this. If we were to create day-night cycles for, say, a location like where we're at right now, Nephtes Plains, right? It's kind of on the brim of this planet, so it's kind of like a sunset sort of experience. We would have to rotate this planet, we would have to create some sort of orbit for it, and then we may even have to change the location, the coordinates of where you would be entering this location. There's a lot of layers just to reposition the dang thing for a light source to be modified. It gets complicated there. I think our main overarching goal is to have handcrafted locations that you can go to and return to. You're probably not going to see day-night cycles to specific locations like that. Like I did say though, it's possible that we might do some sort of configuration in the it's not likely. I'm not taking it off the board, but I think it's a little bit too out there pertaining to the open world persistent game world system that we're currently implementing. Now, there are still going to be a lot of locations that you'll be venturing to with different times of day, of course. So it's not like every single location you go to that's planetside is going to be kind of in a sunset or sunrise format. Who knows what direction this is in? Lol. It's just not a focal point. We're not trying to get too crazy with something. Now we have this quantum tether. I think we'll be able to capitalize on using this in just a moment. Woo! Ah, there we go. Let's use a little bit of magnetic repulsion. Toss this guy around. Devices come in a lot of different capacities to provide a lot of different tools. I want to get back into this fight. I think GMB could probably use some assistance. And these different devices are going to change up your overarching formulas and how you're engaging in combat and how you're navigating situations that are non-hostile even. And also just allow you to kind of have a little bit of fun and screw around. I'm a big fan of this magnetic repulsor. Like, just watching this guy tumble into the ground right now gives me so much joy. And these Ravagers can be punishing if you don't know how to focus them down properly. Okay, this guy's gotta go. This is a bomber. He's shooting a lot of missiles at us. And when he gets close like this, he's also going to be throwing a scatter gun, is what it's called, which is kind of like a shotgun. Very dangerous. So we're using our maneuverability and our ability to disable him outright to take him out of the fight relatively soon, so he's no longer trouble for us. Wow, so many goods. So many goods we are finding is actually kind of crazy. I'm happy about this, but wow. We'll have to come back and look at more of it later. We may or may have not have adjusted our the item drop rates specifically for the beta, so you guys could find more stuff. Okay, just a couple more guys over on the other side, so let's get over there faster. Anytime that you are no longer in combat, we've also created a nice little cruise drive system for you to get yourself to the space that you desire. So as you just saw, we just flung ourselves across the planet side to get over to this combat. Stay in the fight. Bring these outlaws down. I think that guy's dead. Just gonna watch and make sure. Oh my god. He got control right near the end of it. What a lucky dog. There we go. And we'll bring this guy back to planet side, and we'll just launch a bunch of missiles or mines at him. Oh, come on. A couple connects, please. There we go. Nice. So now we have a bunch of items that we can pick up and we can talk about, and how the itemization works as a whole. And that should be a fun time. So that's kind of a basic sense of what combat can look like in EVERSPACE 2. Granted, I certainly didn't show you all the enemy types. In fact, we're only looking at one specific faction there, which were generic outlaws, which may or may not come in different forms as well. We did see some standard scouts, some drones, a Ravager, bomber, mine layer, and that was about the extent of it. But there's still quite a bit more. So we're gonna go ahead and go to this pause screen. A lot of items to look at and whatnot, and I'm gonna check and see if there's any other questions that are floating. I'm sure there are. I know you guys are asking a lot of questions, and I'm excited. So let's get to answering some of those. I see one coming from a flaming polar bear. Does Rockfish have an aquarium in wherever you work? If yes, how many fish are there? I think this is a fantastic question for Michael, who has answered and said no live fish in the studio. So there you go. If you were wondering if we had any rockfish, no, there's no rockfish in the Rockfish studio. Town24 asks, how does the difficulty in the introduction area scale with progression? I think this is a solid question. In fact, there was a conversation in the Discord prior to the stream starting. That's right, we have conversations with you in the Discord? How can I participate in this Discord, you might ask? Well, that's a great question. You can actually go to discord.gg/rockfishgames. You can dive in there, and we are always having little conversations talking about anything and everything pertaining to EVERSPACE 2, and sometimes there's some off-topic threads about things happening in the gaming industry that you can also involve yourself in if you are a civil person. If you're not a civil person, you will be met with a ban hammer. It's quite easy for us to do, and so just follow the rules. Be a good person. That's all we ask. It's great. Being good is nice. All right. Anyway, so this question, asking about difficulty in the introduction area scaling with progression. Is it the same as in late game areas or like slightly easier or something? So, as always in any opening portion of a game, we make sure that it's something you can kind of screw around in to get associated with the controls, to get associated with the content that you may or may not be experiencing throughout the game space, right? So it's very much to the degree that you are overpowered in the very start of the game. The tutorial actually begins you at level 10. Some of you missed that. Should go back, play the tutorial again. You're level 10, and you have a pretty decent assortment of equipment, and you're fighting like level 1s through the whole tutorial. So it's very easy for you to make mistakes and recover from it without being like completely bamboozled. It's intentionally designed in this capacity. We are not making the additional game to where you're just like snowballing over everything. In fact, we also use the traditional tease of equipment, if you will, where you're given an assortment of things, and then when you actually start the game after that tutorial, everything's yoinked away from you. And now you have to build yourself up from your roots in the direction of your choosing to establish yourself, to gain a reputation, to accomplish your tasks, gain some income, and become the badass that you're really looking to be. That's games, right? Am I right? So those are the progression systems that we're using, and the difficulty curve thereof is very much going to complement that. We want the start of the game to be fairly easy, and as you're moving through it, we not only want the challenges to be stronger, but we want them to be harder. And I'm using that terminology very specifically here because stronger implies bigger numbers. Well, yeah, of course, but we want it to be harder as in a greater challenge, meaning there are going to be new mechanics in place. There's going to be different solutions that you might be able to find depending on what type of equipment you have chosen. You might get creative based on the devices that you found throughout your play, or the equipment that you have, or maybe the perks that you choose on your character. So there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of synergize. Oh, we didn't even talk about the ship itself. There's also different ways of what type of ship you're using to synergize in certain aspects as well. There's lots of layers here is the main overarching point. And those layers are going to define that difficulty curve for you. You can just pluck away with whatever you want, and it's probably gonna be far more challenging for you than if you optimize your equipment, if you're being key on what you're purchasing for your ship and how you're addressing that forward. Okay, that was a big talk. Summary, progression is going to be along with the difficulty. One more thing to add, there will be locations that are more difficult and certain locations that are easier. So the difficulty is also kind of exemplified by your choice and where you're going and what you're choosing to do. In fact, while we're here at Nefty's Plains, let's go to the job board where we can pick up some jobs, who'd have thought, and show you just how that little bit of a variance can impact your progression. Now, I don't think we're gonna see anything too wild here since it should be in the same area, but just as an example, you can see there's little numbers on each one of these jobs, and that number represents the level thereof. And with the level, you'll see that like repelling the attackers here, you're just gonna get experience from defeating these enemies and whatever they drop, as well as a credit reward for completing the event. Versus if you look at this search and destroy, it's a level 10 event. Now you're gaining more experience from it, right above here, by the way, experience. You're gaining more credits from it, and you're also gaining some inertial dampeners for it. Then if we keep going up, you see that these numbers keep scaling up with that difficulty. So if you want to take on some harder jobs, you can do that. If you want to take on some easier jobs, you can do that. If you want to go to a part of space where there's lower level enemies, you can do that. If you want to go to a part of space that you're really not prepared for and you just want to taste to see what's going to be like, you can do that. All of these aspects of the game are powerfully placed for your creative, challenging enjoyment. Woo! Okay, so let's get a couple more questions since that was one question. Woo! But hopefully I'm covering a lot of questions by being thorough in that. Hoping you guys are appreciating the way that I'm dissecting these bad boys. Can every aspect of story and gameplay be experienced in a single playthrough, or is there more for additional playthrough? Yo, Darken, this was also addressed. Somebody was asking about a New Game Plus system. So to summarize, New Game Plus, while it might seem like a really simple thing to do, it's like, oh yeah, just restart a game and, you know, just carry over your progress from the prior one. It's unfortunately not that simple. There are a lot of complexities behind how to bring that to light. And a New Game Plus isn't in our current vision of how to build the game structure. Now, that being said, the game is meant to be played, you know, from start to finish in about a 20 to 30 hour campaign that also has in-game content that you can continue your adventure even after you've completed the story to branch off, go where you want to do, complete the jobs that you want to complete, gain the reputation with the factions that you want to gain a reputation with, etc., etc., etc. So it's not something where it's like you complete the game and then it's over, now you need to start over. It's meant to be you complete the story and now you've opened up the end game, which is going to have more content, more things to do, more things to find, okay? It should be something of an expansive experience that should add at least tens of more hours of content to the game, at least. Are there unique legendary set items? Yes, we are having a lot of, actually, do I have any made by any? Nope, nope, nope. Any manufacturer items at all? Any? I just need one as an example. Come on game, don't fail me. It's totally failing me. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, we'll keep flying around. We'll see if we can't pick something up. Oh, here we are. A Benka Speed Word Shield. Nailed it. Woo! Got it. So there are manufacturer items that exist in the game. These are customized items of similar types that you will have found in the world. So, for example, I think there's currently 3 different shield types, which are the same 3 shield types from EVERSPACE 1. So you have your standard shield, you have your shield ST, and you have your shield XC. And all of the 3 different types of shields are going to give you a certain benefit and a certain drawback based on how you're going to use that. So like your shield XC, this light shield, it regenerates really fast, but it doesn't really block a lot of shots. So if you have more hit and run tactics, it's great. But if you're trying to like full on tank an opponent, probably not so much. So Speedword is a manufacturer shield that takes some of the drawbacks and some of the benefits of the other shields and combines it all into one so that you have a more standardized approach. And it might also have other unique benefits if, say, you found a Benka sensor as well, you know? And maybe having both of the Benka shield and sensors equipped on your ship, you might see something happen there. So a set item sort of bonus, that is something that we're looking into. It's not currently implemented yet, but that's just a taste of some of the ways that equipment can synergize and become something more than what it previously was. Now, you're also not going to see any legendaries in the beta at this time because they are not programmed in, but legendaries, we want to make sure they stand out as well, for sure, right? Be that not only by their attributes, but maybe also by their visual aesthetic. Will it be easy to swap equipment styles for those who like experimentation? I think that's a pretty solid question. I don't know the driving force forward on that one so much. Right now, we've been really focused on creating content so that when the early access drops, you're gonna have a little bit more than what you've been seeing. It's actually why I'm playing the current live beta right now, because if I were to pop open our early access, you'd see some things that you're not supposed to yet. That's right. That's because we are making a lot of active progress towards that early access that's showing up in December. That's like almost a month away. It's technically 2, but like wow, it's happening so fast. Goodness gravy. So definitely we are making sure that that's our focal point. Now, how we navigate those tools to make it accessible and to build those quality of life improvements, you know, first we have to have content to make more quality of, right? So that's step 1, and then we'll move into that step 2 to really bring everything together as a whole. And I think that we want to have some really strong flexibility in changing your types of styles, your builds, if you will, of your ship in and out with one another. I think that's going to be important to us. Just hasn't been a focal point right now. Just hasn't really been part of the conversation yet. Okay, so I'm gonna sell a lot of this stuff because I like credits, as you can tell. And yeah. So another reason why I'm selling a lot of this stuff too is because we're in a more late game situation here. And when I say that, I mean of the beta. It's still System 1. Come on, guys. It's not like this is the actual end game. But a lot of this stuff isn't necessarily valuable to us because we also haven't implemented the crafting elements of the beta. But otherwise, there would be possibly a strong purpose to having the ability to dismantle this equipment. Oh, did I just lock up? Oh boy, that's always fun. We have a second for the game to think about its decisions. If it crashes, we'll just boot it right back up. But dismantling as a whole is you guys have seen dismantling, salvaging, you know, all those types of things in various other games. Basically giving you the opportunity to take the randomization that you've been given and then making it your own, basically creating your own luck, right? And that's that's a really strong aspect of what we're aiming for whenever we get to that crafting system. We want to make sure that you don't feel like you've just been got by whatever system here. I'll go ahead and rotate this so you can see other sites that you can follow us from. I'll like get this game back up and running. But I mean, as a whole, like, it's a looter shooter, right? So you're going to be gathering a lot of stuff. You might be getting what you want. You might not be getting what you want. And if you're not getting what you want, well, shoot, how are we going to allow you to start going in that direction? Our solution is utilizing a crafting component to bring it all together. So yeah, we'll have more on that though in the future, especially when it's, you know, implemented. That's an important thing to do, to be able to talk about a system. All right, so let's see where we left off. It should be right back at the station, I hope. Okay, perfect. Now I'm a little scared about all of these items not working properly, so I'm gonna go ahead and dismantle these instead of selling them. And you'll notice that we're basically not getting anything for dismantling them, except here it says carbon powder. That's completely placeholder, but it kind of gives you a sense of a possibility of what's going to happen whenever we start getting into this realm of dismantling and crafting. But really, we're just clearing our cargo so we can pick up more stuff. Anyone who's popping in asking about keys today? Today is not a key-centric game. We're not distributing any keys. It is it's having a conversation with you guys so you can see the game and the current beta state and talking about a couple next steps, so long as I'm not tripping over myself or giving away too much information. Obviously, we like to be as transparent as possible, but we can't tell you about things that aren't ready to talk about yet. I mean, hopefully that's a given, but that's the current state of where we are at. Spaceships getting smashed against land and no damage. Okay. Oh no, they're definitely taking damage. They're definitely taking damage. I just love the loading screen animation and the music you're using on the stream. If it was YouTube video, I'd leave it on for repeat for hours. Oh my gosh. It's quite the compliment. Yeah, Giho is the one who is doing all of our musical compositions for the game. He's an in-house musician. He did all of the music for EVERSPACE 1, so big shout out to him. He's pretty awesome. Pretty great dude. So that, the display music, as all the things are cycling over, that's all Giho's handiwork. The music that you hear here, it's Giho's handiwork. And all the music throughout the game space. You guessed it. He's doing it. He also does all the sound design as well, so like weapon blasters and engine bursts and all of these different aspects. He is in control. He's the sound design master. All right, so now we are flying in open space. We have full control over our vessel. We can look out of the cockpit should we desire that. We'll have more to talk about pertaining to cockpits in the future as well, but everything that you see, you'll notice that I disabled my HUD, so we can look around freely in the cockpit. We see our beam laser there, our mine launchers here, our consumables, our devices, our energy overall, the type of ship. It says Sentinel, it's a liar. Don't worry, we'll update that. If you're pointing out and be like, that's a bug. Trust me, we saw it. Don't mean to be discouraging to you. But yeah, there's a lot still coming to the cockpits. You can probably even see some of these things are a little bit placeholder, like the joysticks themselves. A bit more to come. Ooh, an unknown signal. Let's check it out. Needs more RGB. I mean, this is System 1. System 1 is blue. Actually pretty similar to EVERSPACE 1's System 1, if you think about it. I wonder if there's a parallel there. Anyway, this is all by a blue sun. A lot of locations are going to be blue. It's going to be very simple space, is how I'm going to describe it. It's because this is the first area that you are diving into, kind of the new world of EVERSPACE 2, and we don't want to like full on overwhelm you. That would be kind of rude, I think, in some certain degrees and capacities. But once you have completed a certain number of missions, a certain number of tasks, you will then be venturing into the Union system. And we've shown this system off a little bit. And basically, this is more of a nebulous system, and it's a trading hub. So you'll see a lot more ships. You'll see much larger stations, perhaps. You'll see asteroid configurations and particular capacities that maybe are huge mining sites. You'll see the nebulas themselves, like massive clouds in space, if you will. We also have a gas giant that you can fly up close to. And each one of these locations that you'll be venturing outward into, each one of these sites, all those locations are handcrafted, by the way. We want you to be able to identify what system you're in simply by looking at the stars or looking at the quality of the planet that you're on. Because that, we have a thematic aesthetic that we want to bring everything together with, much like we did with EVERSPACE 1. And I know some of you know what I'm talking about here. The color of the system that you're present in EVERSPACE 1 is dependent on how far you have progressed. What? Check it out, look it up. Look at some screenshots of somebody you can actually say, oh yeah, they're in system 4. Oh, they're in system 6. They're only in system 2. Like, you can actually tell by what you are looking at in the area. And we want to bring that straight up into EVERSPACE 2 as well, but also introducing new systems, new elements, and new environments for sure. Absolutely new environments. So just to loop it all back around, Cedo, it's kind of boring. Perfect. Okay, so let's go destroy some guys, and we'll check out this asteroid over there. Nothing too bad, just a drone and a scout. We'll make quick work of him. Take some credits. A couple more drones. We have the pilot viewable. Actually, this has been, I'm not gonna say a popular request. That might be a bit bold to say, but we have seen that request come up a little bit more than not. So it's really hard to answer that question because, I mean, that's a lot of extra work, just a player model in and of itself, right? In addition to ships. Some of you more crafty individuals in the community may have already caught some player models that are actually in the game. What? Oh my gosh, that just confirms it. There's gonna be bodies in the game. Now slow down, you guys, all right? But take off your tinfoil hat for a second, okay? Now look, we need player models for scaling to make sure that we're not being wonky devs who are making spaceships that are way too tiny or large in comparison to these other assets that we're building. So it's a very common tactic with any development of a game to use some sort of human model to scale your content. And it just so happens that Dax has a human model in his spaceship, okay? It's great. It's fantastic. Could more come of that? Maybe. I'm not gonna say no. But I will say that it's not a focal point. We really do want to make sure that we're adding new content. You know, there's a lot of different equipment that's already present in the game, and there are only, I say only, but there are 3 distinct subclasses that you can also obtain in the game, as well as, you know, choosing a couple different perks for basically level 10, right? And then you also have a variety of devices that you can choose through, right? Like there's a couple different options here, which this list is going to be expanded upon quite so. There's obviously going to be a lot more equipment as well. Maybe I said too much there. Oh, there's going to be more equipment. There's going to be new stuff. You know there's going to be new stuff. Come on, you. Oh my gosh, you can't be looking at this game being right. Oh man, it's got over a year left in development. We're probably almost done with the equipment. Come on, you. All right. So of course, there's more stuff coming. Oh my goodness, just the lighting and the photography. We've been really fortunate to see you guys and how you've been utilizing your photographic goodness because honestly, your guys' photography is really outstanding. I quite love it. I'm just kind of like throwing together this garbage thing right now, and I'm like floating on screen as I'm trying to make a, you know, photographic shot. Ugh. But you can get really creative with this type of stuff if you really want to. So keep bringing on those screenshots, by the way. I love it. Okay, so now that we explored this little asteroid, see our planet in the background, we're going to go ahead and jump on out to a new location. I think we're gonna head over to the star itself. So, where in the world is the star? Oh, there it is. Beautiful. Star appears where we left off. That's right, we were just in a random location right there, but it did take into account of all the physical planetary bodies present in the solar system. It's important. It'd be really weird if you warped into a location and it was just gray, wouldn't it? That would be really weird, all of you prototype players. So we're gonna go to this base right next to the star, because it's fun to look at, see how close it is. Whoop! Don't hit the asteroid, please. Thank you kindly. This base, actually, we've seen the concept art for it. One of many designs. Pretty happy with the results thus far of how things are shaping up. You'll see a lot of different base designs. This one happens to be colonial. So there's a lot of lore that we could crack open right now. I'm gonna keep it just nice and simple, just so you can see the base. See its presence here. Also have some text on the side there. Colonial Science Corp. Beautiful. We'll fly on over here and land at the base. So what do they have in store? Well, I think one thing, we have a magnetic repulsor that we already own, so we can't actually buy this. Devices, however, do come in two flavors when you're searching around. The first one is that they can be found in exploring your locations. They're hidden about. But another way is to find them in a shop where you can straight up purchase them. So we found the magnetic repulsor. We don't need to buy it from the shop. Otherwise, we are going to repair our ship. We have both our armor and our hull to repair, so we'll go ahead and just repair that. And to restock, I don't even want to look at what we need to restock. I just want to press X to restore my missiles and my mines. We'll just get along with our day. Well, here's another Shiva Energizer SP. We're gonna go ahead and sell the railgun, this Energizer SP. Don't really need copper and ore right now, so we're gonna go ahead and sell that, even though it's also a lot. Some scrap metal too. Beautiful. Let's just travel around here while we are answering a couple more questions. Can we ram into a star? Sort of. So, I think in the prototype we had it to where there's basically barriers that when you pass the barrier, you instantly die. Take that as you will. In the beta, I believe we removed the barrier because we're still working on what that's gonna look like. Because when you die, it's never fun to die, so it has to at least look cool, right? We agree with that mindset. We want it to look cool, and right now it doesn't. So it's like disabled. You can just like fly through the star. That's not final, okay? It's not a finalized product. But yes, there are ramifications if you fly into a star. See what I did there? Yes, delicious. Oh, there are some items floating about. Let's pick them up. Some scrap metal. Okay, we'll take it. All right, let's travel to another location. Will the in-game stuff be craftable or found? That will be a point of conversation in the future when we talk more about crafting. I know that there have been a lot of people curious about how that's going to impact the progression of the game if you have craftables, how that could potentially impact legendaries or, you know, other types of uniques and whatnot. And just know that these are components that we are thinking about as well, and we're navigating that game space to make sure it feels appropriate and it doesn't break the game. Let's see, where are we at? Where do we want to go? It's always fun to go over to Palemon's wound, so we'll go over there. Just flying around for now. Eric not hitting an asteroid, that's first. Hey. Every blind dog digs up a bone every once in a while, okay? That's cool. There should be some colonial ships in Cedo if there's this colonial base. Hazy? Dang it, I said Hazy. I was so devoted in my cause to not call you Hazy. I called you Hazy first thing. Hazy. Oh, goodness gravy. Hazy. We want to make sure that the systems that you're flying to feel alive, right? Yes, it's space, it's vast, it's void of many different things, but you guys already know that we also want to make sure that the experience you're having here in EVERSPACE 2 is something that feels imaginative, creative. We are romanticizing the game space, and a lot of things that shouldn't normally happen or would be hard to happen occur, like a destroyed planet that you can fly near the wreckage of, for example, right? We want these sights and sounds to feel good as a complement to the experience, even if it may or may not make the most realistic, simulated sense, right? Oh, that's a sniper drone? My beam laser's not long enough. There it is. Take out some of these guys. Shouldn't be too hard, as they're a bit lower level than us. We'll see some bases in the background there. I think I've already scavenged them in this save. But let's just go ahead and check it out. Oh, no, we haven't. Look at this. All right. So again, more things that you can grab and throw around. And dodge. Go away, missile. Wow, that was close. Let's take that thing out. I don't even want to deal with it. All right, perfect. Now, we do have a current system using these bomb throwers to where you have to grab a bomb and then throw it back, which disables its shield. It works. I don't think we're overly satisfied with the end result at this time. It might change. But obviously the idea here is that these different turrets defending a base, they are going to require unique approaches. You'll need to be good at certain things to capitalize in certain moments. Who'd have thought? I think we actually went here in the last stream as well. Yeah, this is the power core that we found. And I don't think we found where we needed to take it. Ironically, I'm still not sure where it needs to go. I know it's to another site, but we'll go ahead and just drop it there. Let's answer some more questions. No furry dice? Oh my gosh, you guys want furry dice? Whoops. Look. I just want to be incredibly clear here, guys. All right, look. We know that you want customization. I've actually vocalized how there's more customization coming, and I've even specifically stated that more customization is coming to the cockpit. All right? Now, that's already sounding very much like, oh, there's a very real possibility of something like that happening. And yes, there is a very real possibility of something like that happening. We are still deciding if that's valuable content to add to the game, if it's meaningful at all to that customization. Because as you guys know, when you are flying a spaceship that is specifically customized and unique towards your specific playthrough, you want it to have a very distinct look and appeal, right? It's your ship. Nobody else has your ship. And if they do, they copied it. Dang it, those copycats, right? The reason why we use a modular-based approach for the ship is to make the ship your own, so that nobody else has this ship that you have. And this is just one subtype, right, of a ship. You guys have seen me do this before, I know. But like, this is just the striker, a tier 1 striker, okay? And mixing and matching, you can create a pretty solid variety just on one striker alone. Oh, I like this one. Further customization is still coming. So know that we hear you. We want to do some cool stuff with this. We want to make sure that your ship is yours. We want you to deck it out. We also want to make sure that there's meaningful content added to the game so that you can cruise around and do stuff in your cool looking ship, right? So what we're doing is we're putting an emphasis on gameplay first, and then we're adding those fun little features to capitalize on in the future. It's just stuff like that's just not a priority right now. And I say this, the reason I iterate this is because this is beautiful, by the way. But the reason I put emphasis on this is I don't want to give you guys the false expectation of thinking you're going to have 50 customization options in your cockpit come early access. It's not realistic, right? But note that it's possible in the future to have customization options. We just have to get there first. Neat. Smell of a new spaceship sentry. Oh my gosh. Let's see what's over here. It looks like it's like a little destroyed base, some luggage. This kind of looks familiar to EVERSPACE 1 for any of you guys who have played that. Very intentionally designed as such. Look at this. This looks like a mining drill that's gone in the wrong direction. Trying to move it. Doesn't look like it's bumping. Oh, also, anybody who's coming in who's looking at my health bar in the upper left and I'm going, okay, I fixed it, never mind. Never mind, it's fixed. It was all an illusion. Whenever I changed the ship design using my dev cheats, mwahaha, it also borked the health bars. Don't worry about that, your health bars aren't gonna get borked. Mining drills as well. Something very familiar to EVERSPACE 1ers. Here's something that's new. In these various locations, to make sure that there are things to do and to capitalize on your exploration, you'll have little mini games. This one's a pretty standard one, a pretty basic one, where you have to run around an asteroid and trigger the detonation timer. All one after another. Here we are. In a given time, rather, excuse me. And once you trigger it, asteroid go boom, you get some resources. Wonderful. And for any of those who just looked at that and went, but will there be advanced mining things? Okay, we've actually answered that already, and the answer is yes. There will be more mining things in the future. So be looking forward to that. There will, in fact, be more cool mining things other than just shooting and looting. Hypervolt, your side thought regarding customization and accessing areas, I think that is, I like your thought process there. I think this is a really good time to mention to everybody, if you've had any suggestion pertaining to the development of EVERSPACE 2, you've been following it for a while, so you kind of know what's going on. This is important, okay? This is very important. If you're in the know of how development is currently going, I do encourage you to head over to the EVERSPACE 2 Steam forums. That is where we've consolidated everybody's feedback. Whoop! Our focal point, our main hub, if you will, the big cheese, all right? That's where we want you to go to have those discussions, to crack open new thoughts and ideas for us to possibly add a little slice of you into the experience. That's right, we could pick up one of your ideas and be like, yeah, we're gonna do that. It's crazy, it's possible. I mean, I don't know how likely it is because, you know, that depends on the quality of your idea. If you're gonna suggest something stupid instead of getting it implemented to the game, you're probably gonna get a stupid response. I'm just making that known, right? This is actually why I said right there, for that context of diving into those forums, we want to make sure you guys know what's going on in development before you start going ham and saying, well, what if you did this? Because there's a very real possibility we're actually doing that, right? So the more you're involved in these streams, the more you're involved in our Discord, on Reddit, on Twitter, etc., and you're engaged with us and you know what's going on, that's going to make you a much stronger proponent for your ideas and suggestions. And maybe you could very realistically see something that you suggest casually in a stream, or specifically on the forums. Let's put emphasis on the forums, right? You put something out there and boom, all of a sudden it's now in the game. Could very, very realistically happen. Thanks, freelancers. Really appreciate it. Also, I just want to check out their ships because I really like their ship design. It's not something that a lot of people end up seeing. Oh my gosh, look, we're in perfect formation there. That feels good. Now, these are blockouts. These are currently blockouts. They are getting adjusted. You can actually, if we're going like really nitpicky in, you can tell they're blockouts. I just think it's a fun design. Someone might point out and say like, oh man, look at all those weak points. It's only connected there. Oh my gosh, that could get blown up in seconds. Guys, look, if you think we're trying to make this hyper realistic game that's using engineering and physics and science to the maximum, I'm sorry, but you're gonna get disappointed. Did you just see me shooting laser beams in space? Oh my gosh. But yeah, I really dig their designs. I think they're pretty nice. After all, if the game isn't fun to look at, like, I mean, we could make realistic spaceships and, you know, everybody's like, why in the world is everybody flying a phallic symbol? That's not something we really want to do, right? We'd much rather give it wings to add some personality to it, okay? That's really the desire here, okay? So if you want your realistic spaceships, there are other games that definitely do that for you. They just really stand out, all right? Not us. Sir Shrunk Room, I'm telling you though, like if you look at true engineering of spaceships, the best design is just whoop, it is. Okay, that's the realistic, that's how you get places, but that's not, we didn't want every single ship just to be a cylinder, right? That's not what we wanted to do. So, sorry we're not being realistic in that capacity. Sinoclast, what if you wanted to fly that? I mean, I'm trying to think if there's, in any of our designs, if there's any sort of state where a ship is like that. But even so, my question is, but why? I guess we'll have to find out through development. Can we look like a freelancer? So are you specifically asking about that ship that we just saw? Because I think that's a curious question. I know that we had a question the other day that was about, if I see a ship, can I fly that, right? And you know, I could see the desire with that. But also something to point out is that the game space in an open world RPG, we want to establish your character as personalized and unique, right? So if you're flying around and you see your ship that you're also facing, it's less unique because now it's more associated with these other factions or persons of interest or whatever in whatever capacity, right? And while there is a very realistic approach to that throughout like level design, for example, it's like, oh yeah, well, you know, I'm flying a GMB vessel, right? Let's just, you know, whatever. We're flying a GMB vessel, so other GMB people should be flying it, right? Well, technically, yes, from a realistic perspective, yes, but now it's taken away this aspect of your ship. Now you're kind of flying G&B's ship, right? Now you're flying somebody else's ship. It's less yours, and it's more the property of somewhere else. And we don't want to do that, right? Much like any RPG that stands the test of time, your character is definitively unique. It's absolutely its own person, or in this case, spaceship. And that's the direction that we're taking this. That's why your ship is very different from what else is out there. That's not to say you can't find similar styles to some of the things that you find out there, but at the end of the day, you're gonna stick out very distinctly from the foes and general opponents that you're facing. Jay Gnarl says, plus, how are you gonna fly your ship in an atmosphere without wings? Flying around with pure thrust seems pretty silly. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's a good point if you're defending like the realistic aspects of the game, but remember, realism comes second in the game space. Realism actually comes second in the game space. You know what comes first? I was gonna be mind-blowing. Gameplay. Whoa! Team Coalition over here. I love it. So what you're telling me is that you're a dingus. Ah! We love our friends. If you're good to us, you might find your way into our game. Like, boom. That's a good example of it right there. Mines! Okay, so there's a racetrack in here that offended me the last time I was doing the stream. So we have to correct this. So we're gonna do this race again. We're actually flying a terrible ship for this race because we are wide. Oh my gosh, we are a wide boy. So if I don't spin correctly, this is gonna end very poorly. So this is either gonna be really awesome or incredibly dumb, and I just want you to cheer me the whole way, all right? So again, this is another little situation that you can be a part of whenever you're flying through these spaces, mini games like races. Oh boy, oh boy. Oh, that was close. Oh, oh gosh, ow. No, goodness gravy. Going down, all right. We're good, everything's fine now. It was okay, all right? It was okay. Now some of you might be wondering like, okay, so you mastered it. You got the master level, you got through all the rings, you did it perfectly. You know, kind of. What's the reward for that? What does that look like? What is that faction specific? Like, is somebody gonna challenge you to do these rings? What's the purpose to doing that? Well, I'll tell you what. We're still in the works of defining what that looks like, right? They're not just plugged in here just for kicks and giggles, I will say that. But these are also part of a structure that comes in the future for being rewarded for various sites and for being rewarding for your exploration. I have talked a lot about it being rewarded for exploration. It's like, I say it way too much, but it's another one of those aspects, right? If you go out of your way to accomplish these races, I mean, you'll also get bragging rights. There's also that. It's like you take a screenshot of your race time and you send it on to your friend and be like, beat this jerk. I constantly have somebody in the community who does that with me and I can't beat them and it makes me upset. Anyway. I should work on my racing. But you will find rewards and a lot of satisfaction out of completing races if you choose to go in that direction. There is purpose, there is meaning behind every little thing we're plugging in. Slithering Peanut said mind blown. I would have said fun. Oh, and pertaining to gameplay first. I mean, if the focus isn't gameplay first, then wouldn't that mean the focus isn't fun first? think about it. All right. Bye-bye armor, though. Who needs armor? I do. I need armor really bad. To protect against opponents? No. To protect against crashing. That's what we need to do. All right, we're going to head over to the Cedo Outer Rim. Keep floating around, answering some questions. How are y'all doing today? By the way, I don't know if I even asked that. Goodness gravy, it's been a week. It's been another week. We're getting close to the end of October. Halloween's right around the corner. Oh my gosh, that just reminded me. Andy's probably gonna troll me with some sort of in-game Halloween thing on a build that I use next week. That's gonna be embarrassing. Oh my gosh, that perfectly lines up. Andy, don't do it. I'm telling you. I'm not gonna use the build that you throw at me. Take that. You're gonna have to find some other way to troll me. Get wrecked. Oh my gosh. Are all the ships the same size? Good question, Anime Girl 26. I don't know what happened to the other 25 of you. But hey, no, they are not. We have a variety of ship sizes. I shouldn't do this, but I'm gonna use Star Wars as a reference point, okay? Everybody knows Star Wars, and if you don't, well, I'm sorry. But I feel like it's a good one. Basically, A-Wings up to Millennium Falcon. That's kind of your range of ship sizes, okay? If that's not helpful enough, think of like a smaller ship being like 15 meters to a larger ship being something like a 40 or 50 meter range, okay? So that kind of gives you a sense of scale. So little bitty guys and big old brrr. What was that? Okay. Well, that's gonna be clipped. Anyway. So I'm traveling down to locations that are considered easier in the Cedo system. So as you just saw there, we fought a bunch of level 2s and level 3s, as opposed to anything that's near our level. So it's actually simple to complete the tasks and accomplish our missions. And it's also just a little bit more calm for us to fly around and hang out and answer questions during a live stream. But there are still rewards that can be found. In addition to this, I think this is a really good spot to talk about the different levels of the locations as well. This has been discussed a couple of different times in a couple of different directions, in fact. But something else that we want to do is we want to have a little bit of scaling difficulty. Now, I said a little bit, okay? This is not super point of clarity here. This is not something where it's like you level up, everything else levels up. So it's really all the same, just bigger numbers, okay? It's not what I mean by scaling the difficulty here. What I mean by that is that where we're at, the Cedo Outer Rim, this is technically like a level 3 difficulty location. So that means everything here specifically is like about a level 3, okay? Pretty easily understood. That's different than, say, the Shattered Planetoid that we were just at, right? Palamon's Wound, that's the name. I didn't forget, I wasn't looking at it to read it. But like there, that is a level 7 location, as you can see right below the mouse cursor. And each of these locations will be scaling up behind you as you progress through the story. We following here? Okay, I'm gonna say that one more time, all right? It's not that they're leveling up with you, because we want to make sure that the easy locations are still easy, but we also want to increase the value. So when you reach level whatever, 100, whatever, whatever level's in the end game state, right? When you hit that level, when you come back here, it's not going to literally be level 3 content. That would be worthless. There would be no, like, even if you scrap it for something more, probably not going to find a lot of value in that unless we have a really intuitive crafting system that could utilize something that's really lower level than where you're currently at. That would be really interesting. But otherwise, yeah, so we're leveling everything up as you're playing through the game. And there's going to still be an ease factor into that, but it's not going to just be like super embarrassingly easy. Now, in addition to that, in the latest game situation, when you reach the max level point, we also want to make sure that you're still challenged in certain areas, especially using the end game content, going on certain missions, taking on certain jobs, going and exploring sites that are very difficult or otherwise unknown, right? There are still going to be some very strong challenges out in that system as well, to where it's maybe even beyond your level. We're looking into how that's going to operate, but long story short is you'll have the directions of moving through space in a calm fashion, or you'll have the direction of going ham at others. So take that as you will. It's kind of a built difficulty system. You choose how hard it is when you dive in. Give me them crafting deets. Inject them in, please. I can't do that, Hazy. I can't do that. You know I can't. But is there ramming speed, Captain? Ooh. Prime Lord, welcome to the stream. I can actually tell you that one of my favorite devices. I say this like every time I install a new device. Like, this is my favorite device. But no, seriously. Energized boost with high pressure. Oh my gosh, I love this so much. I use it all the time. And you know why it's so effective for me to use? It's because I always run into things. So it works perfectly in my favor. It's like, oh, there's a bunch of enemies, I gotta dodge around them, or I could literally run into them. It benefits my weakness and makes it a strength. Boom, it's a win-win situation. High pressure flying closely past enemies deals up to X amount of damage and pushes them away. Feels good. Let's see if we can actually find some opponents and show you exactly what that looks like. We might see some guys over here. Oh, here we are. So because these guys are two drones, that's not even funny. Hang on, let's, whatever. So these two drones, they're just gonna get completely raffle stomped. Somebody's like, he said raffle stomped? I haven't heard that terminology in forever. We just go, whoop, and they explode. So you even have some leeway in how close you are to them. You don't have to straight up ram into them. You just need to be close. Makes it even better in my opinion. But in addition to that, if your opponent is at your level, when you use this, not only will you see them take a decent chunk of damage, you'll then also throw them forward. So for example, if we had this asteroid in the background, much like we're kind of doing here, and this guy was high enough level, what I could literally do, like with these GMB fighters, they're gonna survive this, but well, I destroyed one and missed the other one. But like, what I could actually do is I could go towards the asteroid, hit the boost, and then cancel the boost, and then just kind of stop and float and watch them just go spinning into it and kablooey. So it's like magnetic repulsor in a different capacity in that regard. Also, look, it's a secret. Why am I using mines? There we are. Little secrets like this are also going to be populated across the stars as well. And the reason we can get away with doing this, they're not procedurally generated hidden spots, okay? These are locations that you have to take the time to train your eyes to catch. And when you find them, you will be rewarded. Whether it's just a couple of paltry items like we just found here, nothing too crazy, yeah, you know, whatever. Or it could be something very powerful. It could be something unique. We are not holding back on making specific items bound to certain locations even. So if any of you are like, well, is everything random? Well, there you go. The answer is no, it doesn't have to be. So there might be a super fantastic weapon, a very specific one waiting for you that's hidden just beyond your reach. And unless you take the time to discover it, you might never find it ever forever. It's really bold statement. You might be able to like craft it or something, but you get the point. What's the highest upgrade for the ship? I'm not sure I understand the question. Currently in the beta, you can get to level 10, and the various upgrades are unique to the different modules and the weapons that you're using them on. Some of them, a lot of them carry over, and specifically in the beta, these different modifiers and whatnot. Superior is also the top tier of items in the beta, whereas there'll also be legendary equipment in the future. You guys have seen that in previous builds, I'm sure. Hopefully that kind of give you some sense of the level, the highest level currently in the beta. But obviously these figures are going to increase as we continue through the game. All right, so We're gonna fly over to the ulcer. I quite like the way that it looks. And then we'll take on a job or two and get some actual challenges up in this, yeah? Just flying around Cedo gives you kind of a sense of the calmness that you can take in. All right, so we got a couple questions here. We got one from Hypervolt. Well, another great individual of the community, by the way, so mad respect for Hypervolt. With secret spots like that which are finite and not procedurally generated, will there be any sort of value we can see that tells us how many we have discovered and how many are left? I think that is a beautiful question, Hypervolt. So initially, and as you just saw, whenever we found that hidden location, it did not populate on the map. So if I would have left and not destroyed that and come back, I would have to re-find it again. That kind of sucks. That kind of sucks. So one of the conversations I actually had with Hans Christian, one of the developers, it was, what if we made like a special, unique sensor modifier that allowed you to retain the information of secret location? What would that look like? So we have this mindset of forward thinking how a player wants to plan ahead and accomplish their task. Maybe it's not a module, an upgrade to a sensor. Maybe it's just a standard that we set that just hasn't been implemented yet. But I can assure you that we want to make sure that when you're finding stuff, you can catalog it accordingly. You can come back to it. You can kind of see how things are building up. But pertaining to your very specific question, how do we know how many are left? That is a very difficult question to answer, but it's possible that maybe at a station or something you gain a galactic scanner. I don't know, call it whatever you want, okay? That tells you how many secret locations are in a solar system and how many you found versus how many there are at. But it doesn't give you any more information than that. It's possible. It could be incredibly frustrating for the completionist, however, who now knows that they've collected 59 secrets out of 60 and has no idea where the last one's at. We don't want to give our players a heart attack, right? So if there's a balance that we can do to help make that possible, it's possible. I do like it conceptually though. I think that's kind of neat. Thank you so much for all your work and streams. Take care and be safe. Well, thank you, JW. I do appreciate that. I hope that you have a great day yourself. Are there enemies did are as strong as you? Stronger. I enjoy one-on-one combat the most. Man, let me tell you what, the donger. I absolutely enjoy a challenge in games as well. And when I am not challenged, I get bored. And when I get bored, I stop playing a game because it feels like a chore. So, to answer that question just straight up, yes, absolutely, there will be opponents that are very challenging to where you're at and what you're trying to accomplish. We are just not in a situation currently where that is applicable. That is because we are stuck in the early part of the game. I say stuck very loosely, but the beta only goes up to level 10, and we are in a lot of areas that are anywhere between level 1 and 7. Now that said, I want to fly around here the ulcer just because I like the way that it looks. And then we're gonna pick up some jobs that are higher level than us. And you'll see a little bit more of the challenge that can present. Is the beta quietly closed? I would say it's loudly closed. And the reason why I word it like that is because we don't have any NDA policies pertaining to the beta and the individuals who have the closed beta, so they can stream it freely. That's why I use that sort of play on words there. Early access in December, however, that will most assuredly be open. That's right. So if you cannot wait to get your hands on this game and you would like to contribute to development in some capacity or degree, which I would really appreciate, and so would the team, I do encourage you to look into the early access in December. Nailed it. Flawless. I was facing the wrong direction. Whatever. All right, so we've got a question that Hazy has also answered, but I want to read it out loud. Does the size of the ship class have any effect on physics-based devices like that? Would energized boosting into an enemy in your not Millennium Falcon do more damage than doing so with your not A-Wing? I think this is a playful question. I like that. In the current format, the physics of the game are more bound to the player's experience, I believe. So what I mean by that is, as you level up, your devices will probably increase in damage. Perhaps upgrading your devices will increase them in damage as well. That's a topic for when we get into crafting a little bit more. But as it stands, like if you're using a device on your not A-Wing, we're gonna call it a Scout. If you're using the device on your Scout versus if you're using the device on your gunship, it's gonna be pretty applicable to the same thing. One's not gonna be inherently better with it than the other. It's just gonna be dependent of your situations, all right? It's also very possible that there could be exceptions to devices being used on certain ships so that you could only say, use the energized boost on your medium and light fighter classes, whereas opposed to the heavies can't. Maybe, we just have to figure out how it's gonna feel good, how it's gonna make these ships more unique from one another, because that's what we want at the end of the day, is we want there to be a lot of variety between them. If every single ship can use every single thing, is it really that much different? And if so, what's the point, right? So we have to make sure that there's value in the ship selection as a whole, and also what you can do with that. So hopefully that's, I know it's kind of like a non-answer, but also maybe. So Peanut Pete asks, are stats on drops the same or RNG? Like, do engine Mark 1 drop with the same stats, or are there differences? Like, one has shorter boost time but faster travel speed, and another has longer boost but slower travel speed. So the answer to that is kind of. Basically, whenever you're looking at, actually, here's a good example right here. So we have this energy core, which is a balanced energy core. Its output for weapons, shield, and boost are all identical. And then on top of that, it has some attributes below it. So 87 repair, 60 firepower, and 242 meter addition to your tractor beam range. Now, not talking about these stats behind me, basically your energy, the main function of this energy core, it's balanced all the way across the board. Now, if we were to compare that to this energy core, regardless of the stats that you're looking at here, you'll see that its focus for this one is in boosting. It's not as good as the other energy core that we have overall, so this one's just not going to be worth the exchange. But we see that this one increases your energy output while you are stopped by 32.3%, right? So there could be value in this, even though it is technically weaker, if you really want your boosting and you happen to stop a lot in between boost. That's weird. That probably wouldn't work. But the point is that there's a lot of variety that can happen even between the same module. Same thing with shields. Some can have capacity and recharge speed focus. Some can have recharge delay and shutdown duration focus. Armors, there can be different focuses there as well, even though it looks like there's just one thing that they apply. Sensors, same thing. Boosters, same thing. Cargo units, also same thing. There can be a lot of variability. Variety, that's the word I'm looking for, even in same items. You just have to do some comparing to figure out which one's going to best suit you in the situation that you're in, or in the direction that you want to take it. Recharging during strafing, though, oh man. I feel like that would be a broken ability to have. My neck feels much better. Just making sure I'm not missing anything in those questions. I want to know if you can change the color scheme of a ship after you have purchased it, or we'll be able to buy skins later. Okay, so that's, oh man, it's, there's so many things that go into this realm of, we've kind of showed a little bit, but aren't able to talk about because there's so much more coming. But regarding ship color schemes, there are, we actually show, there's a graphic, maybe I can show it a little bit later, of 50 different color schemes that the player can actually choose from in order to distinguish their player ship. Okay? We're not gonna cycle between all 50 because they're not all implemented into the beta. But hopefully that gives you a taste of what's to come with how you can customize something as simple as your ship colors. Now, in addition to that, much like in EVERSPACE 1, and you could choose your primary, secondary, and tertiary colors, we are looking into that as well with EVERSPACE 2. That means that the greens that you see here, you could make a specific color of your choosing. The oranges that you see here, you could make a specific color of your choosing. The black, or gray, if you will, right here, you could make a specific color of your choosing to create new combinations of ship colors that are not available in this wild selection of ship colors, okay? It's possible. It's possible. We just have to get there. Also, I feel like I have superpowers. Woo! All right, anyway. I also want to point out something else. When we change ships, you'll notice, whoops, a little too close. You'll notice that the light sources also change, depending on what ship you are, which ship you have. And this also changes, whoops, on other aspects of the ship that you have as well. Where are my engines that have the things? Right here. So like here you see the lights of the engines is yellow and the lights of the missiles is teal. When we change, these actually change, okay? Like some of them are consistent, some of them are different. There's a lot of little details that are further applied to make the ship look the way that it does. And we're not done there either, because like if you look at this, both of these interior lights are blue, right? So when we go into the cockpit, guess what light sources you see? Oh my gosh, what is that? They are blue lights. Yes, there's consistency across the board here, okay? Like we want to make sure that things come together as a whole regarding all of these different aesthetic combinations. And I'm still talking about color. But it's important. It's important. We know it's important. And just be aware that yes, we are hearing that. Also, I think some ship got blown up because they dropped a lot of loot. So let's go sell this. It's ours now. Mwahaha. Yeah, look at all this stuff. Ooh, a flat cannon. Only level 5 though. And that's just an effect of the location that we're at. If only I could show you crafting. What a shame. All right, so now we are gonna fly over to Nefty's Plains. Here we are. And we're gonna pick up some missions that are actually at our level. Hey, all right. White and yellow with black or red would be my colors. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, everyone's got their own unique taste and style, and I love it. I dig it. I dig it so much. A ship that auto-cycles color schemes 10 times a second. Needed for all gamers that need more RGB. I'm imagining somebody who's like trying to customize to their mouse or their keyboard that has like all the flashing lights. I can't argue with that request. I mean, it's probably not gonna happen, but you know, kudos to you for suggesting it, okay? I give you props. I give you props. Oh my goodness, you silly guys. You silly guys. Invincible starship. All right, so, yeah, let's see what other ships they have available too. So we have an interceptor here, we have a striker, we have an interceptor and a sentinel. It's funny because we're just talking about like all the variety of ships, right? And now it's like we're looking at these 4, and they're all kind of similar-ish. They got like a similar cockpit, and I can't stop looking at it. Oh my gosh. But more importantly, if you look over here, there are some stat changes. It's really important to note. Between these ships, and also at the top, the ultimate is different, and the special and the passives are also different, okay? So as we're changing between here, notice these elements are in fact changing. So it's not just your aesthetics that you're choosing, you're also choosing your stats, you're choosing your powers. These are going to affect your playstyle heavily, so you do need to be mindful about what type of ship that you are flying. Or you can say screw it and be like, I just want to look like a badass. That's fine too. I mean, that's fine. I'm not gonna knock that. I kind of want to change to an interceptor, so we'll go ahead and choose this one. We have a couple different options here. Whenever you buy new ships, you can actually send them to your home base, so you can store a collection of ships. Do you ever want your own hangar full of a bunch of ships? Yes, the dream will become alive in the future. As of right now, it's not crazy, but it's possible in the beta. All right, so we just purchased a new ship. Here's our new interceptor. Very standard looking interceptor, if we're being honest. I quite like it. It's moved all of our gear over. I know that some people are thinking like, well, wait a second, if all the gear's over here, does that mean the gear isn't independent of the ship? Well, no, it's not. In this version. This version, it is not. Basically, everything that you had over is now carried over. So it's not like you have to buy completely new systems for your new ship. Now, if we were to have purchased that new ship and put it back in our hangar bay, we could legitimately use different equipment and store it on the different ships for completely different playstyles. So you have an interceptor that puts a focus on dropped energy cores, or power spheres, whatever the heck they're called. You know, don't at me. And you have all these items that like increase your damage when you pick up a power sphere, or give you a boost when you pick them up, or X, Y, and Z. So you equip that ship with all of these specific elements, and now you just like have a power sphere monster of a ship. But that looks very different from your other ship that you're like, I just want it to be like a close quarter combat fiend. So of course it's a striker that has the close combat passive, or special, can't remember which one's on it is. But, and then you have like a scatter gun on top of it with a bunch of mines, and maybe you have armor that protects against mine explosions, who knows? And you just like go up in somebody else's grill and you just like start dropping everything, right? So you can have those distinct playstyles and then save them out per ship, right? It's not just where you have to have one ship all the time and that's it, and transfer everything over every single time. Just depends on how you want to bring that all together. There is not a chance of EVERSPACE 2 on Android and iOS devices. We are a PC console company. That's what we are driving forward with. Do appreciate the question. Any plan to add landing gears docking? That would be a really cool little feature to add. It's also a lot of added work considering we use a modular based system for the ship bodies and wings and engines. So that could be a very taxing element to add that doesn't add any gameplay functionality. So I'm not trying to shoot you down. I like the idea. Don't get me wrong. I really do. But I see mod support asking, let's see. Isn't prepared says, it would be a damn shame if you accidentally shared some crafting. Oops. Yeah, oops, my boss is watching. And I like my job. I think that it's, you know, enjoyable from time to time. I like interacting with you guys. I think it would absolutely be a damn shame if I told you something early and then for the next year and a half you had to look at somebody else's dumb face. That would be a damn shame indeed. So no, I'm sorry, I can't sneak that in. But let me tell you what. I know I tease it a little bit from time to time. I promise you guys, like, we have a very specific plan for crafting. The reason I've teased it is because I'm really proud of the direction that we're taking that, and I think that it's gonna be something that you guys appreciate as well. So just give it some time, we'll get there, we'll open up those doors, and you're gonna go, okay, this is interesting. I really like this, I don't like that. and we're gonna figure out what's gonna be best for the game space as well as for you, all right? It'll be good, I promise, I promise. And then another follow-up question. For those of us who have fancy keyboards like that, can we have our lights sync with the game? I don't even know why I gave that attention, you guys. All right, anyway, let's, we need a dock here because we want to take on some missions before the stream ends. Holy cow, we have less than 30 minutes? What? Holy cow. Excuse me. My apologies. Anime Girl 26 asks, are the ships different from Everspace 1 to Everspace 2? Yes. Absolutely. In fact, the systems in place for Everspace 2 are built from the ground up. This includes the player models themselves. Whenever we were doing development at first, we did plug in placeholders, which were the same models from Everspace 1, but they are completely unique. So even with like the interceptor that you see here, this probably looks familiar, right? But if you go take a screenshot of Everspace 1, you compare it to this interceptor, you're gonna notice that this is not a colonial interceptor. This is a customized, this is a modified version of that interceptor. It has similar traits and abilities, but it can be adjusted even far more than the original Everspace interceptor ever could be. Same thing when you see the Scout, same thing when you see the gunship, and same thing when you look at the Sentinel, which we also were looking at earlier here. Where's it at? Right there, right? So we also have that similar style that we're familiar with from Everspace 1, but obviously it's not colonial. That's important to note. Doesn't seem much like Michael Defari over a small showcase of content, guys. Look, I've got a job to do. I'm gonna stick to it. I'm gonna be clean. I wanna embrace you guys and talk about what we're doing with the game space, and I'm gonna do so in a healthy capacity. That's how it be. I think I have the same water bottle you are using. Oh yeah? It's a Contigo water bottle. There you go. Not promoted. But let me tell you what, keeps me hydrated and thriving. Benjamin, once changing ships like you did earlier in the stream be possible in early access, even just for action freeze? So we actually, the funny thing is, if you guys go to the prototype, and is it the U key? Oh my gosh, it's been so long. There's a button that you can push in the prototype that cycles between 11 different looks. And it's just for kicks and giggles, really, but it also is applicable to taking screenshots. So if you want to change up your look in the prototype and that's all you have available right now, definitely encourage you. I think it's either Control U or it's just you. Hazy says it's you. Okay, perfect. Yeah, you can cycle between more looks. We get that it would be really fun in a beta situation of the game, but honestly, the reason why that's there, the reason why I'm able to do this, it's not for me to like, wait, where'd my ship go? There it is. It's not for me to like brag and be like, look what I can do. You guys can't do this. That, I mean, come on, I'm not a dick, okay? Like, let's be real here. But we also have to check and make sure that all the modules are working with one another. We have to make sure that it's flush, it's even, it's fair, it feels good, it looks right? And so if we didn't have a way for us to quickly change these settings in our development builds, which I'm technically using right now, by the way, we wouldn't be able to make sure this stuff is operating correctly. Hopefully this is incredibly obvious information that I'm getting here, but me having these capabilities does not mean that you will inherently have these capabilities as well, right? We use it to make the game. So will it be available in early access? My guess is a pretty strong no. A pretty strong no. But will the options to obtain ships that look like all of these cycled ships be available? Like this, and that, and this other one, and this one, and this one? Yes, you will be able to find ships that look like any of these, or at least similarly to, very much so in early access. They might even be polished up a little bit more, in fact. Some of these I really enjoy, actually. I like the smaller wings. But I'm a scout type of person because I am one of the few people who recognizes the scout is easily the best ship. No big deal. So it's beautiful. This one's pretty cool. I like this one. We'll fly this one around. And you notice that each of the ship bodies too, let's see if I can push the button. Here we go. You can see that we do have lateral thrusters in place for all of the different ship bodies as well. This is important so that you know you're getting the visual feedback as a player, knowing that you're strafing to the left and you're moving down in the case of this, right? Each of the ship bodies does this. And there are different, checking to make sure I can say this. Okay, there are different tiers of wings too, because like you have a tier 1 interceptor here, right? So as the tiers increase, you're gonna have beefier looking wings, right? And those beefier wings, they also adjust the placement of these certain aspects and whatnot. Like this modular approach gives a tremendous amount of visual customization, right? Which is why I've put a lot of emphasis today in, you know, talking about the cockpit and having fuzzy dice. Like that's more customization on top of an already considerable amount of customization that's currently in the game. Like it really is. And I hope you guys recognize that. I'm not trying to like dodge the conversation of cockpit doodads. I think that there is something there that could be done. I think that there's room for making things a lot of fun in that space. It's just, again, it's just not the focal point, right? We want to make sure that your ship looks awesome. So that's what we're doing. Like that's the direction. Okay, I talked about picking up a job like forever ago. Let's pick up a job. Are all the 11s Minesweeper? What in the world is this? Oh my gosh. That's just unfortunate. We're gonna repel some attackers, and that's gonna be all the time we have. So we're just gonna take this one job against level 9s. Oh my goodness. We wanna track the mission so we can see where it's located. And then we're gonna head over there. How long does it take the ships to restock? I think the in-game timer for the beta is 10 minutes. I think it's 10 minutes. Subject to change. Will EVERSPACE 2 support dual joystick? The actual Steam demo is not really fit for flying with joysticks. Yeah, the actual Steam demo, no, I don't think it's possible. Let's see. Obviously, we're doing HOTAS support. Dual joysticks. You know, it feels like it would make sense, right? Right? Not for any particular reason. I'm not actually sure. Michael, are we implementing dual joysticks? Do you know? Is Casper in the chat? Legitimately not sure. I'll have to get back to you on that. I encourage you guys to join the Discord for following up with any questions that I potentially missed, by the way, because I can more fluidly answer those, or the community can as well. If you know the answer, I'm not calling anybody out here, okay? This is a clean cut, sort of just respectful conversation we're having. If you know the answer to questions being asked in the Ask Questions channel, answer them. If you don't, just let somebody else do it. You know, let somebody from Rockfish answer a question. If there's no problem in, you know, waiting for an answer. 2 drones? Please tell me that's not it.
Looks like the coast is clear. Thanks for your help.
Calling Nefty's station.
You are speaking to Nefty's station.
I finished the job.
Good.
I want my payment.
Signature is fine. Here you go.
Guys, I'm gonna choose a job that's a little bit higher level so that we have an actual challenge. Whoops! Let me tell you what, okay? We're still working on these jobs, okay? There's gonna be a lot of flexibility, a lot of variety to them. Oh my gosh. The chances of that happening during a live stream. I hope you enjoyed that as much as that I did. But rest assured, the way that the game will be coming together is that based on the jobs that you take and the levels that they are, you are going to receive awards and a challenge dependent on the scale of that job itself. And that was just a really bad example. Just don't worry about it. Just pretend that that was incredibly difficult. I almost died 3 times. Wow. Goodness. Jeez. Anyway, Michael's response pertaining to HOTAS support. Okay, so we're actually in a similar playing field. So we'll have to follow up about HOTAS, okay? Definitely, please, seriously, join the Discord. I implore you, discord.gg/rockfishgames. Get all in there, go to the ask questions and say, hey, will HOTAS be supported? Because if you plop it in there, I can't avoid it. I can't ignore you. Just like I do that sometimes to my children when they're being buttholes, okay? I can't. That is permanently bound and associated to Rockfish to respond to, and we want to make sure that you're getting the responses that you deserve. So do me a favor, jump on into the Discord, go to that Ask Questions channel and say, hey, HOTAS support, what's up with it? And we will get you a timely response. And by timely, it'll probably be Monday because we're all out of the office now. Also point out. Anyway, solid transition. Oh my gosh. Excellent. Okay, so there's a couple things that I wanted to show. Last week, we're gonna go ahead and transition over to the news network. And I wanted to show some of the little things that the community was working on. If you guys recall from last week, we had a situation, screen's gonna go blank, don't worry about it. We had a situation where I wanted to see more fan art come out of you guys. So it's been great. It's been a really good time in the Discord. If you guys aren't familiar with it, we have some funny memes that are starting to spawn here and there. I want more of them. I think that you guys can do some great things. I've seen your talent. It's solid. We have a little joke about Michael and I and other members of Rockfish saying that would be dope, wouldn't it? It's kind of a call sign to say we're looking into it. It's plausible. And so we use a button that says that would be dope, and then my hand that says wouldn't it? Well, here you go. You got the combination in the meme. Thank you, Hypervolt, for that. Very much appreciated. Just high fives to you. Nailed it. All right. Good stuff. And then we also have, we had a shot, hang on, from Azorka. Oh my gosh. So this is what we've stooped to, but I love it. I love this so much. We had a photographer. We have wonderful gallery shots in the Discord. Like super quality, amazing. You're looking at this and you're not taking me seriously, but let me tell you what. We have some beautiful gallery shots in the Discord. Another strong reason to get involved. Send us your shots. You can have them posted during a live stream. And here we had this very interesting looking ship part that looked like a face, and I tried to mimic it. And there you go. So thank you for capturing this for all to see, Azorka, because that face has then been reused, and now we have a picture from Hypervolt as well, where he's capitalizing on the approach. Perfect. Excellent. I love it. Really do appreciate that. So don't let your memes be dreams. Get on in there. Let's make it happen, folks. Let's build a better community and save our souls by using memes. So keep at it. It's definitely some good stuff. Now, I did not catalog any gallery shots this week. What? How dare I? So I'm going to take a very dangerous dive and open up the Discord. Oh my gosh. Look at this. I'm in the Discord. I'm hoping people will spam it because I know that you do. But just to like cruise into this, just take a quick look at some of these shots, okay? Just look at this. Look at this shot. Obviously, I can't maximize it here. This isn't the most suitable element to show you these. If you really want to capitalize on how glorious this looks, you need to get into the Discord. You need to pop into it and check these shots out. Like these come from BW Lambrix. He's been taking a lot of shots lately. Really great stuff. Seriously love it. And it's just gorgeous. It really comes together incredibly well. This one's from Spoot Knight, excuse me, on his movements in his combat. Really clean looking ship too. I love that ship. That's a great ship, Spoot Knight. Very well done. We can scroll up a bit, see some other stuff like McFly, getting this, just sitting on a base, looking out into the stars. Again, these are all captured by you guys. This is great stuff. So much goodness here. So thank you for your continued dedication to all these incredible shots. I just love it. I think all these are, no, C-17 Killer. I believe this is from the prototype. These are from the prototype, guys. It doesn't matter if you're playing Everspace 1, if you're in the prototype, if you're in the beta. Like, you send me your shots. We love this stuff. This is great work. Was the caption Dope 5 standing by? I believe it was, yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's so wonderful. And it's crazy just looking back on the prototype and seeing these shots come out of it, thinking that this was over a year ago, guys. This prototype is over a year old. What? What? Yeah. That's how much progress we made. This base, there's actually a destroyed base that looks like this in the beta. What? So it's almost like you see this in the prototype and then you update your game and it's completely been destroyed. What? Yeah, little nods and nuances like that if you've really keeping your eyes open. Look at this, we got more BW Lamprecht, and this, again, this is from the prototype. Look at these shots that he's taking out of there, guys. Solid work. I wish I could maximize these shots. So keep at it, keep taking shots. I love it so much. You guys do seriously great stuff here. The base wasn't destroyed, it's just a year old. Nice, Hypervolt. Oh my gosh. And we have also talked a little bit about the photo mode and how there are going to be a couple more adjustments to that. So just keep your eyes peeled for whenever we make more announcements to have more adjustments to that with your photography. Because again, it's really important that you guys get the highest quality shots to your enjoyment factor, which frankly, we also enjoy. We know that you guys have a particular eye, and you know, it's possible, like, through the course of Everspace 1, we actually worked with one of you guys, somebody in the community who was taking outstanding photography of the game, and the Switch booklet that you get with the physical copy, all of the shots are made by one person from the community known as Laser Force. So you could actually be in part of our promotional work if you take some really amazing photography within the game space. Pretty freaking neat. BW Lamprecht, this is basically your stream now because you have so many shots. Dude. Oh my gosh. Crazy good stuff though. Crazy good stuff. All right. Oh, this ship. Oh my gosh. Going all the way back to Spoot Knight. I think it's this one right here. I think this one just, that's a great looking shot, and it's a great looking ship. Love the way it comes out. There are a couple other really fantastic shots. I can't go through them all, obviously. That's basically impossible. But we got about 5 minutes left. I'm going to be incredibly strict today. Boom! My wife has to pick up my daughter from school, and if I'm not upstairs in 5 minutes, I'll basically get murdered. So, we got 5 minutes to answer questions, guys. Let's shoot them. Let's talk. Let's have a discussion. While we're doing that, I'll also pick up some concept art. Like here we go. This is the concept art of that of the base that's technically next to a star now. This one's next to a planet. But you can see this the concept art to realization. We're pretty happy with how it's all come together. Pretty good stuff. We're pretty satisfied with the results. Michael does have a follow-up response pertaining to HOTAS and HOSAS. So I'm going to read this out loud so everybody can see it. Supporting third-party peripherals can be quite a deep rabbit hole. It's true. We'll do our best, but we also have to factor in that HOTAS, HOSAS support is relevant for just a small percentage of our player base. The reason why this is significant, guys, is because even if we want to go in certain directions and do certain peripherals justice, we also have to realize how many people that's going to affect, right? So as a business, we have to do what's going to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, and it's also taking care of as many people of our community as possible, especially those who are contributing greatly to it, right? And it just it keeps us in line with how we are building the quality. It keeps us in line with the focal points of what we're establishing within the game space. I mean, this is why we're talking about building content, and we want to put a lot of emphasis on that gameplay factor, as opposed to moving in these other alternate directions that only a couple people generally ask about, right? It's because like these are the big deals. Like, again, if there's not a focus on gameplay, then I mean, what's the overarching points going to be? So there has to be content there. There has to be an incentive to do specific tasks and jobs. And then when that's established, we can get really nitty gritty into that beautiful, rich customization that we want to put more emphasis on. But it has to be in that proper order. In addition to that, I mean, we've talked about VR in the past. I know somebody out there is thinking about it, so I'm just going to say VR is an incredibly low item on our list. Incredibly low. So low that it's probably not going to happen. We're still generating a little bit of feedback here and there. But I mean, it's very much like we've learned, we've discovered a lot of things, and we've just taken our situation in a direction that's going to be best for you guys. It's not that we're trying to like give the shaft to the VR community. Absolutely not. But we have to make sure that what we're doing is what's best for the game and best for our community. Now I'm sounding like a broken recorder, but you get it. That's the point. You get it. Hazy specifically asks, I noticed that the concept art of the colonial station has blue thrust coming out of the bottom. Will that also be in the game, or is the station finalized? So, I mean, concept art gets modified and tweaked and adjusted to what's actually incorporated, right? As of right now, that blue beam that you see underneath, it doesn't have any functional purpose in the specific location that it's plugged into the game. So, no, it's not going to be present. Could it be added in the future? It's possible. It's one of those things where I don't think it's vital to the structure of the structure. So we're really happy with the results of the station overall. If it gets more details added, it's possible, but it's certainly not an update. It's certainly not a guaranteed update, excuse me. How is the X input support on PC? You guys are asking questions that I'm not 100% sure on the answer to. So this is going to be something, Jaynaro, which I will encourage you to ask once again in the Discord, and we can follow up in responding to that. My instincts tell me that it's still in the works. I want to fly into the blue beam. All right. We'll see what we can do. All right, guys. Hey, it is 3 o'clock, so I have got to go, but you have all been a fantastic audience. I really do appreciate you coming out, hanging out with me, poking fun at certain things that happened, engaging with me, making fun of me, if you will, during my racetrack. That was embarrassing. It's always a blast. So, I just want to, one more time shout out, obviously, go to the Discord, engage with us. We also are on Twitter and YouTube. You guys know, or Twitch and YouTube. Obviously, we're also on Twitter. We got all of those goods as well. And a couple other things like Instagram. Definitely look into that if you want to see shots that you potentially have taken. And we will just have a good time together all around the internet. So I just have to do one last thing, and that's tell you that you guys have been awesome. You guys have been awesome. I have been Eric Schrader, the community ambassador for Rockfish Games. Don't stop being awesome, and I will catch you in the next stream next week. Toodles! My wife is leaving to go pick up my daughter. I really need to leave the spaceport. Over. We'll see you in the next stream, boys.